I'm Scott Moore, and I'm a performance engineer. I help to make software and applications faster, better, more resilient. Lately, there's one thing on my mind.
Where's the best barbecue at, man?
So I'm going across the country, talking about performance engineering and barbecue. Join me as we take the performance tour.
The Performance Tour is in Las Vegas, covering the CMG Impact Conference. CMG Impact has been around for more than 40 years. It's a nonprofit, non-vendor-run conference that covers enterprise IT and infrastructure, and a big part of that is performance. This year, the speakers are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud-native applications, and the IT infrastructures that support these technologies. I'm here to learn from them, meet new people, and hang out with some old friends. This is my first time at the CMG Impact Conference, so I sat down with Amanda Hendley, president of CMG, to find out more about it.
Okay, we're on the performance tour, and we are at CMG Impact 2020 in Las Vegas, and I'm here with
Amanda Hendley.
Amanda, good to meet you.
Hello.
And thank you for being on the show here. Tell me about CMG Impact and what it's all about, how did it come together, and what's going on?
Sure. So the funny thing is, a couple of weeks ago, I came across this paper that someone had written for the conference 20 years ago, in 1999. And it was interesting to hear the history of the organization and the conference, because it actually started with a conference.
Okay.
Before an organization.
Okay.
And basically, folks were having trouble with some performance issues. Software was, so people were developing software, and all of a sudden there were bugs and they needed to figure it out. So they came together as a user group, and they were just saying, can you help me solve this problem? Can we sit together and can we work it out? And that was the first conference. It was actually a gathering of people just to talk about solutions. And this is our 45th year getting people together to talk about solutions.
45 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So that was before DevOps.
Yes.
That's before we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing that I noticed about CMG that's maybe a little different than other conferences is there's not a huge emphasis on vendor specific something, buy this thing. You really discourage any kind of a sales pitch. It's all about sharing knowledge, like you said, solving problems, and that's pretty important here, right? So you've done that from the beginning, is saying, what's the best type of content for CMG?
Right. So it's exactly the point. So we're vendor neutral. We still have vendors. There are still some solutions, obviously, some problems you can only tackle by talking about a particular tool or solution. But we're non-vendor. We don't sell a tool. In the world today of your AWS conferences and your Microsoft conferences, we're one of the few that isn't on the underlying side trying to sell you a technology.
Right.
But we have a lot of great partners who are here, and they understand the rules that you're here to tell us something educational.
A solution,
a solution that is not just buy my tool.
Right.
It is a solution about how they can do their jobs better, and they're so awesome about loaning us their experts. And then everyone is so giving of their resources.
Now, Impact is just one of the conferences, right, that CMG puts on as a whole. And am I right? Impact is really driven around performance topics specifically. So a performance engineer like me, this is where you want to be if you're into performance?
I would say yes. We cover a lot of topics here at Impact, as I'm sure you've gotten to, to see.
It's more than,
as an organization, so our history, our founding was all about performance. And we still talk about performance. We still want to talk about performance. But we also want to make sure that our members, these technology professionals, have a broad scope of information at their disposal, so that when they go back to work and their bosses are mandating something new to them, that they actually, they have a basis for that they can actually say, yes, like an anticipatory design project, like we can work towards that. So
Awesome.
the performance side is very important, but there's so much of that we're covering, security and AI and
Machine learning. I've seen
machine learning
a lot
and
of different-
SRE. We're making sure that we're being as much of a resource as possible.
Yeah, that's great. And the panel that they had here was great. We had Wilson Marr on there. There were several people that I've known for years. So you've got some major players here that are giving good advice and good information out to people for their questions. What's next for CMG? Like when would the next Impact Conference be, and do we know where it's going to be? Or
We don't yet. So as an organization, for the past couple of years, we've been really working to evolve past just an annual conference. And we've done that with virtual programming in order to bring people together where they're not having to travel. We do virtual conferences and webinars and build a repository of information. But as far as conferences go, we're really looking forward this year to start taking a regional approach and potentially introducing micro conferences to our schedule.
Yeah.
So think of it as, if all you really want to learn about is performance or AI, we might have a micro conference that's going to focus directly on that for a day or two in one city. And then maybe 3 or 4 months later, another variation of the topic in another city.
Right, because it's hard to get people away from their company for more than a day or two these days, right? But they can get on something virtually, and they can get away, or if it was on demand, that's a different story. But there is also the aspect of everybody getting together in a room and talking. Like when you have these meeting of the minds at the end of the day, that to me that's really important, because then you get to hear firsthand from people what they're dealing with, right? So
a little bit of what we've done at this conference is sought to feature local speakers talking about their technology that they're working in. So we had MGM Resorts International talking this morning. And by taking a local approach and hosting events around the country, I'm hoping we can really highlight regions that are doing very cool stuff with technology. So imagine going to Boston and us getting to talk to Citizens Bank and MathWorks, and being able to really tap into that local tech community, as well as draw people from around the country and around the world. So we'd love to be able to do that, and by setting it up that way, maybe we get people together more often, which I think is always nice. Because,
me too, yeah.
Yeah.
In a world of social media, we're less social than ever before, so we need to get back to that. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, and if you have not been to a CMG Impact Conference, you should definitely go. I've learned a lot. You meet a lot of great people, and you get actually to have the time to have conversations with people, and that to me is where a lot of the work gets done inside of your head, not just reading about something. You get more experiential knowledge by talking to people. So thank you again for being on the Performance Tour, and we'll see you on the road.
Sounds good.